Hello, everybody. This is David Ruffin. Man, what another day are we having? All kinds of news is happening, but I think the number one thing that I could say is happening today is the Nordstream Pipeline got attacked somehow. Something happened on both of the Nord Streams. Now, is this an attack? Is it sabotage? What is it? No, it is highly unlikely that these things would just both blow at the exact same time, but this is all playing into the exact same playbook that we have been warning against all of this time. So we're going to be talking about that today. We have a bunch of stories that we're going to be covering today. Let me know what you're interested in talking about as well. Leave it in the comments below, and we're going to jump into our first story of the day. All right, you guys, as we jump into these stories, I got lots to say about it, so I'll let you know what I think. But our first story, if you want to go to market@businessinsider.com, the story is talking about there is now a 98% chance of a global recession, which signals a severe downturn and more downside risk for stocks. I kind of laugh at that because only a 98%? Guys, I was telling you it's a 100% chance back in April. Okay. They also said that most asset classes have priced in a moderate but not severe recession so far. All right. Well, the majority of people these days are asking me over and over and over again, David, what is going to happen with the interest rate? How high do you think it's going to go? And that is the wrong question to be asking. You need to be asking, how long will it be high? Here's the deal. If you raise the interest rate to 20% for 1 week, everyone would just ride out that 1 week. Nothing much is going to happen. What then would happen if you raised it to like where it is right now? It's at 3 and change. What if we put it at 5 and left it there for several years? It would absolutely decimate the economy. So the big move here, the biggest damage to the economy and so forth, is how long they will stay high, not how high will it go. How long? So ask a different question. Still, we don't know, right? But if we look at all the amounts of debts, corporate debts and personal debt and federal debt, Ontario, provincial debt, state debt, if we look at that, there can give you an idea of how far they can go before they break, because they can't afford the debt on their loans. That's going to be the problem. So we can actually calculate that because we know how much debt they would have to pay and how much incoming tax revenue they have. All right, so let's jump into the rest of it, you guys. There is this chart that's right here. I thought funny. It is a global RPM. What is RPM, you guys? It's a recession probability model. And in all their infinite wisdom, they're like, well, it's high right now, but it was also high in 2020, and it was high in 2015, and it was high in 2008. 2003, it was high in 2001, so it's high all the time. Okay, so I don't know if you need, just look out the window. Actually, just look at the businesses around you, talk to somebody that's outside of your little circle, and they're going to tell you the economy is really, really bad. Okay, next story I wanted to show you is BlackRock. BlackRock is one of the world's largest companies, owns half the planet. BlackRock is saying it's time to shun most stocks. Time to shun most stocks, with markets underestimating the risk of a Fed-induced recession. This is at businessinsider.com. So it says investors should avoid most stocks with recession risks rising, according to BlackRock. I think this is very, very nice for them to say, because it's obviously going to be way, way higher. I mean, the reality of the subject. I think that for sure we are in a recession, not we're about to run into a recession. We are already way, way, way inside of a recession. BlackRock is worth $10 trillion with a T. Remembering the United States government is at $30 trillion in debt. So 10 trillion. This is one of the largest companies on the planet. And they're saying that most central banks aren't acknowledging the extent of the recession needed to rapidly reduce inflation. We would need an absolute wrecking ball to come to the economy and blow unemployment way up, in addition with high inflation. This is the bill that has to be paid. This is the bitter pill that we have to swallow because of all the money that we printed in the past couple of years. Now, I put all of my thoughts on record and we put it out there. And I thought there is no way that we could ever get to the rates that we are at today. Unbelievable. I never thought they had the guts to do it. But now that we're here, of course, we have to have a different strategy, right? The strategy we had last year is different pre-war. It's different once the war is here. It's different when they raise the rates so high. We need to constantly be changing our strategies to be able to succeed. All right, let's jump into the rest. This is BlackRock. So it's saying people are not understanding how serious the crash has to be. The U.S. Central Bank indicated last week that it will raise the rates to 4.6%. 4.6. Okay, so we're estimating it to be at 5, to hit 5. So let's see what it actually is going to do. And look at this. The chairman, Jerome Powell, he said it's a very high likelihood the U.S. faces a period of below trend growth. Do you know what below trend growth is? Below trend growth is recession, big problems, everyone losing their job, cost of everything going to the moon. So, they're saying a lot with just a couple words. All right, you guys, let's jump into the next one. What's happening with our Canadian dollars? Our Canadian dollars are suffering. The value of a Canadian dollar keeps falling against the greenback, as even though we are matching the United States and raising our rates, bang, 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 bang. I want you to look up Brent Johnson and his dollar liquidity milkshake theory, where the U.S. is sucking all the dollars into the country because they are thinking that it's safe. Our Canadian dollar is currently trading at 73 cents US. That's what $1 is worth. If we look on a chart in the last year, we hit as high as like 81 cents. Today, we're sitting all the way down at 73. It's like the lowest in many, many years. This is the crazy part. The US dollar right now, if you buy a treasury, and it may pay you 3%, but inflation, stated inflation is 8%, core CPI, realistic. The real inflation, if measured back in the 80s, same way, if you go to shadowstats.com, you'll see that it's sitting up at 16, 17%. So people are happy to make 3% and lose 17, which means you're going to lose 14% of your purchasing power, and that's considered a good deal. People are lining up as long as they can go to check into a line where they're going to lose 14% of their money. Absolutely crazy. Never thought I would ever see that in my entire life. Bananas. All right. So the Canadian dollar is suffering bad right now. Really, really bad. Now look at over in the UK. The UK, now we're getting into Europe. Man, Europe is in serious doo-doo, guys. Europe, look at housing sales collapse as UK lenders withdraw mortgage offers. So they just got a new prime minister. Now this new prime minister is Liz Truss. Now she has taken all of her ideas from Ronald Reagan and from Margaret Thatcher, both conservatives. And so she's done the same thing, giving tax cuts and boosting money into businesses so that they can create more services. Now, we need more supply of everything. We are short of everything. If you have found any item that you go shopping for in the last 2 years that has gone up in price, it's because there's shortages. There's not enough stuff to go around. People aren't making enough stuff, and we printed too much money. So we need stuff. Yes, that's absolutely right. But now they're punishing the UK by going conservative. Home prices are crashing. Stock market is crashing. Some of the worst days that they've ever seen in the stock market, and home sales are slumping bad. So going conservative, they want the problems fixed, but man, it's going to come with even more problems. So look at that. Home prices expected to fall 15% across the United Kingdom, which means trillions of dollars. Now, let's get into one of the very interesting ones of the day. This is the Nordstream Pipeline that has been attacked or sabotaged or whatever it is. Now, I want you to look at this picture. You can look at this at cbc.ca. This is a Canadian one. It shows a picture of the ocean with a large, large area where you could see bubbles coming up. Now, how big is that area? It could look like a half a kilometer or a kilometer across. It's fairly large. So as those pipes are laying on the bottom of the Baltic, they've hit them and they're spewing gas upward. It's methane gas that is going up. But I found it interesting, how deep are those pipelines? Because you're thinking, is it at the bottom of the Pacific? Is it at the bottom of the Atlantic? And we're talking thousands of feet down. It's not popping up here right now, but it's only sitting in like 70 meters of water. It's not a very deep sea, the Baltic Sea. Oh, here we go. Sections of the pipeline lie at a depth between 80 and 110 meters. Okay, so just to put this into context, all right? So the Nordstream Pipeline goes from Russia all the way to Germany underneath the ocean. But the ocean is not like the Pacific and the Atlantic. It's a very shallow body of water. So the pipe is sitting at 80 to 110 meters. Just to put that in perspective, I'm a scuba diver. I go and put that one tank on your back like you would see, you know, just for regular recreational divers in the movies. And I've dove down to 40 meters myself, just with one tank on my back. Okay. Now, to go down to 100 meters, you need a second tank on your back and some more training. But we're not talking about at a depth where you need super duper solid steel things and a submarine. It's not at that depth. It's possible. There's all kinds of commercial divers out there that could get to that depth. So who did it? Who did it? So the pipelines that go to Europe, right? They don't want to buy Russian gas because of whatever their political views are. This is the thing, though. Russia is still going to make the money. At this point, when oil is going up and up and up in value, the oil that they have in their ground is going up in value and they haven't even touched it yet. They have an incentive not to take it out of the ground. And now from a political standpoint, imagine the strength that they could do. Now they've shut off Nord Stream, but a lot of the oil today is going to China and then they're shipping it around. They also have other pipelines that go through by land, much easier to hit, through Ukraine and through Poland. So, you know, those could get hit really, really easily, man. Someone could just walk up to it and hit it with a pickaxe and create a big problem. But these ones that went under there, man, Russia, guess what they're probably going to do? As soon as it gets cold in Europe, they're just going to shut all the taps off. We're going to freeze them out. Your politics, schmolitics, they don't care. And like, imagine that strength that they have. They're like, okay, what is it? 100 million people freeze to death. Go ahead. So, you know, this is going to turn out rough, man. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I think there's some serious trouble that's coming. Now, both of those are hit. What is going to happen? I want you just to go to CBC or just look up a picture, and it really gives you an idea of how serious that problem is. It's really big. It's very polluting. It's methane gas. It's big for CO2 damage. You know, I want you to go check that out. That's just for your own knowledge. Now, what is Russia trying to do at the exact same time? They're opening up a BRICS reserve currency. So if you want to go to Observer Research Foundation, orfonline.org, the BRICS is trying to build a new reserve currency. I'm going to read this verbatim because I want you to hear this. While Russia and China are leading de-dollarization, okay, so that's getting away from the US dollar. While Russia and China are leading the de-dollarization initiatives due to geopolitical rivalry, India, Brazil, South Africa have supported BRICS statements on altering the global financial system in their own interests. So I have two examples I wanted to give you. Brazil, read this. Brazil's dependence on the dollar is quite evident because approximately 90% of Brazil's export invoicing is denominated in dollars. Even when the United States only receives 17% of Brazil's overall exports. The imbalance is prompting Brazilian policymakers to support forming a BRICS reserve currency. He also stated BRICS was not created as an instrument of defense, but as an instrument of attack. So you guys, what does this mean, the de-dollarization, right? Because we live in Canada, we live in the United States, and it's hard for us to imagine. But imagine that a country like Indonesia is going to go to Saudi Arabia and try to buy oil. They're not allowed to buy it unless they buy it in US dollars. So they have to go and create enough palm oil and grow it with all the farmers, try to sell the palm oil on the open market in exchange for US dollars, get the US dollars, and then go buy the oil, right? We have to change the way that we think, because a lot of the world needs to somehow come into possession of US dollars first to be able to go out and buy the goods that they want. And this is where they want to push back against that. And what did the article say? For their own self-interest, because paying those premiums for US dollars as it keeps going up is hurting them more and more and more. Canada and the United States are in a privileged position where our debts are denominated in our own dollars. Most of the world does not have this, and it is a privilege that we have abused and abused and abused. And if it was any kind of real relationship, we would have broken up a long time ago. So how is it? Imagine if your kid could draw a picture on a notepad and give you a picture on a notepad, okay? And they would draw this picture for you, and you'd say, "Oh, thank you so much." And you would go, "Here is 5 cents," and you give them a present. Now, there's been an exchange, but they gave you a picture that's not worth anything, right? And you've given them some money for it. So in the exchange of the world, Canada and United States can print or draw as many pictures as we want. But in exchange, we're demanding from the other side hard assets. Give me your oil. Give me your iron. Give me your copper. Give me your stuff. And in exchange for their hard labor and stuff, all Canada and US are doing are pulling off a new piece of paper, drawing a new picture, and going, "Here you go." And that's our currency. Now, you can't default on your debt when you can print your own currency. So US dollars can be printed to the moon. They owe their debt in US dollars. But here's the problem. When all of Africa, South America, and all these other countries have their debts in dollars, as they keep printing, their dollar crashes. They need hard assets to buy those dollars, whereas we can just fictitiously pull them out of thin air. It's the privilege that the West has abused for hundreds of years. And so the idea of the BRICS countries, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, in addition, now Argentina wants to join, is where they will have money backed by something. And that means that we're going to go back to a system similar to what we had in the United States of America. These dollars, this is a dollar bill printed in 1928. Do you notice on the top it says silver certificate? Silver certificate. And on the bottom it says $1 silver, and that it would be redeemable upon demand. So I could walk into the bank with this dollar, hand it in, and I would get a silver coin in return. Now I know that there's always some money backing up the currency. Today's environment, the way it works, is the paper dollar is only fire starter. The only reason it's worth anything is because we all kind of agree together as a group that it could be worth something, but in reality, it's not worth anything. Whereas silver is used in a lot of manufacturing, right? Electronic vehicle, EVs, electronic vehicles, they use it in all soldering for chips. They use it for solar panels. They use it for all kinds of things. Yes, jewelry, but industrial purposes. This has intrinsic value. This would burn for 1 second. So this is why having a dollar backed by something, and that's what the BRICS countries want to do, back it with copper, steel, wheat, and grains, back it by something tangible that we know that there's value there. Then they can't overprint, which has been the problem for all these countries for hundreds of years. If you guys want to know more about that, I suggest that you go get this book by Ray Dalio, The Changing World Order. Amazing book, man. You should read it about this. It's the last 400 or 500 years of history and the history of the reserve currencies. One of the best books of the year. So how do we play that, right? How does this affect us? Well, when we're going through all of these problems, right? The Canadian dollar is dropping bad on the world scene. Now, Canada is not going to be as bad as places like Europe because we are a large country. We have a lot of natural resources here, and that's what the world is short of. We're short of natural resources. So we're going to be kind of okay. The United States will probably do a lot better than we're going to do. France is going to do pretty good. Canada is kind of like a B, you know? At least we're not a C, right? But we're kind of in the middle. But home prices are going to be continuing to drop down as interest rates go up. We're also going to be running into like not a soft recession where it's just a little bit bad. I'm talking it's going to nosedive. Imagine an airplane coming down at this angle, okay? Not a smooth little landing. I mean, boom. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. So what can we do is we got to run our lives a little bit like the BRICS countries. We have to have some commodities. We need stuff. I have a brother who installs air conditioning machines. And I said, you know what? Instead of having cash in the bank, I would rather have 5 machines sitting out in the garage. Because those machines, people will always need them. And the prices on the stuff is just going up. So this is what I've learned through my experience, and I call it band squashing. This happens on homes, and it happens on food, and it happens on stuff that you buy at the store. The band squashing. So we know there's stuff that's very, very cheap, and there's things that are very expensive. Homes are very cheap, stuff that homes that are very expensive. We'll see this where the lower price stuff will be going up and the high price stuff will come down, and the band of pricing differences will be squashed. Same is going to be with food. You've seen probably bread prices go way up, egg prices go way up, but the high-end foods people are not buying as much of anymore. A lot of cases they're going on specials and coming down because nobody will buy them at those inflated prices. We were just at Costco, and one bag of lobster, which used to be $20, is now $80. So what do you think? People would buy them at 20, yes, but once they hit $80, no one's buying them anymore. They're just sitting there all the time. So that's probably what what will happen is that those high-end items probably will not be there anymore, but they'll get squashed down and have to go on sale. The only way that the company can survive, but the low-end items will come up. So homes will do this, food will do this, and so will products. The essential things of life will be going up. The luxuries in life will be coming down. So if you can stock up for yourself the low-end items, I think that you're going to be doing very well. And you put off the high-end items for later, you're probably going to get them at much cheaper deals later on. Homes across where I operate in the Greater Toronto area, we're noticing this already. The lower price homes are not moving very much. The high price homes are dropping significantly in prices. We're looking at a house just for fun that was 18 million. They just dropped $4 million off the price. They cannot sell it, right? 4 million is a big price cut, and they're going to be cutting it more and more. They're probably going to have to reduce it by $1 million a month until they can finally sell that thing. Whereas if you had a home that was only 500,000, that thing might only drop 5%, maybe, because everybody has to downsize to live somewhere. Once you're at the entry level home, what are you going to do at that point? So homes are going to continue to go down. We had a great weekend. We sold 2. I mean, it went way over asking because we aggressively advertised, right? If you're in the Greater Toronto area, we can help you. If you're anywhere in North America and you're looking to build your businesses, we do consulting and advisory for everybody. We have a bunch of courses going to be coming out in the next couple months. We have a couple books that are coming out in the next couple months. We've got a lot of exciting stuff. Anyway, we hope to see you around, hope to help you. If you know anybody that this can help, please send it to one person. I always appreciate it if you could do that. Please remember to like and subscribe and follow to this. I'm always here to try and help you guys. I want you to keep on going and crushing it through these tough times. We're going to be going through this tough time. As we go through it, though, we're going to have a chance to make some moves in this low and come out on the other side way better. I always say the next 2 years is going to dictate the next 20 years of your life, the next 2 decades. 2 years can affect the next 2 decades. This is really, really, really important. And I'm going to be with you every step of the way. I hope that you guys keep doing well. If you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime. Contact at Rough Team Realty. We'll see what we can do to help you. Thanks very much for coming by, guys. Love you. Hey, guys, as always, I'll try to answer your questions. And before I jump off, I see you guys on TikTok. Thank you very much for coming on. And thank you on YouTube. I see you guys too. If you want to leave me any of your comments on YouTube, leave them there. I have a bit more questions that I have to answer on TikTok, but feel free on both channels. Not that we printed, Trudeau printed, eh, Dale? Yeah. Trudeau is unbelievable. But listen, this is the crazy thing. If you go look at the history of Canada, United States, Europe, it's the debt window goes like this. It's straight up. like a 45-degree angle. And that's liberal, conservative, liberal, conservative, liberal, conservative. Doesn't matter if you're in England and call it your Labor Party. Doesn't matter if you're in the States, call it Democratic. It doesn't matter. More left, more right. Debt, 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 debt. Each company, they're always in the pockets of companies. So, you're in a crazy system, but we live in a capitalist system where we can actually improve ourselves. Imagine us being born under a pharaoh, under a king, under a czar, under anything else. These guys, always, you were a peasant and you're always going to be a peasant. You were a serf, you're always going to be a serf. In a capitalist system, at least if I work hard, I can make it out. I was on welfare, okay? And I made it out. But I did that through reading a book every single week for 5 years. So I think that you guys should do the same thing. Farm Boy, you said I'm a genius. Thanks, buddy. If I had 400K, how do you invest? Listen, this is why you never invest in dollars. You always have to invest in different groups by percentages. But, that's one of the courses that I'm going to be developing is my total wealth strategy. You need to have some money put into businesses, some money put into gold, silver, Ethereum, Bitcoin. You need some money to go into personal education. You need some money for your forever fund. You need special life insurances, a holding company set up. It's an entire matrix. It would take me several hours. Like the course that I'm going to be doing, it's about 4 hours to set it up, where it's self-feeds itself to create wealth. Farm Boy. Farm Boy says I'm like Rain Man smart. Thanks, buddy. Laura, you said my neighbor bought her house during the pandemic 2020. She refinanced twice. Is she in trouble? Yes, Laura, most likely. So here's the thing, Laura. Can I just say that when somebody refinances, it doesn't mean that they're refinancing at a higher rate, like borrowing more money. Let's just say that she bought a home for $700,000 and it went to $1 million, and she refinanced a couple times in there to a lower rate and to a lower rate. Well, she was winning during that time. Most people didn't do that, though. Most people got this false sense of security. They bought it for $700,000, went to $1 million. She's like, oh, this is great. I have $300,000 just sitting there, and borrows the max that she can again. And she does that, and she's going to go bankrupt. I say the best way for you to make $1 million is to go to a roulette table, put it all on black, and run it. You win. Put it all on black again. You roll the dice, and you win again. Roll it. You could become a millionaire in what? An hour? But you know what the fastest way to lose $1 million is go put it all on black and spin it, all on black and spin it. It's so risky to always go to the max of what you can borrow. But I can tell you that's the majority of people. The majority, Canada, United States, Europe, they borrow the max they can on their car. They borrow the max they can on their home. Very, very dangerous. Cecile Martindale, you said, love you, man. You're on track. Thank you so much. I appreciate for you coming by. If you guys like this stuff, please follow me. Please continue liking this and tell a couple people about it. Financial education is not a popular topic. Not a lot of people like it. I'm not filling my friend's house full of slime, and getting 10 million views. I actually want to help people, but that's not a popular subject. You know what I mean? For some reason. Farm Boy, you said you gave a lot of likes. Thanks, man. How much of every tax dollar goes to service national debt? I mean, that's a good question, too. I don't really remember the number off the top of my head. We would have to look that up. Maybe like 25%, 30%. Now, when it comes to provinces, it could be even worse. Now, then we could do 50, 60%. It's huge, huge percentages. On YouTube, thanks for coming by, you guys. You said how printing money goes. Does bank or government take it, or they split? So the central bank prints the money, and then they give it to the government, and the government just sends it out to companies and people. So they don't actually take the money, they just spend it for them. But then that's kind of the twisted thing about Europe, Canada, and the States. Hang on one second. This is the twisted cycle that happens, is in order to get elected, you need tons of money. So you go to all these companies and ask them for money and tell them, guys, I need your cash. If I win, I'm going to pay you back a lot. I'm going to get you some good contracts. So they might take $1 million from a company. win, become president, and then they come knocking on the door and go, remember when I gave you $1 million? I now want a $25 million contract from the government. So then they will sign the deals to get those contracts done and make the money back. The businesses are just here to invest money to hopefully get more back in the next round. And so this happens all over the West. So it's very, very, very toxic. And printing money doesn't necessarily mean going out and printing billions of these. It's all online now, right? They can send an email. Here is 1 billion. And then they can now go lend it out in a mortgage. Like, we don't go buy properties with a U-Haul truck full of $1 bills. It's all done online. So when we say the word printing, it just means like inventing money, not necessarily putting it into paper dollars. Otis, how are you, man? Good to see you. Montreal Services, good to see you. Oh yeah, this is my sign. Well, this is my name, Ruff, and this is what we do. We sell homes. I work in the Greater Toronto area, so we sell properties everywhere. Had a crazy awesome weekend. Sold 2 homes this weekend, and the market has been really, really tough. Advertised very, very aggressively. 4 or 5 hours, I think 5 hours or something, of negotiating on that one home on Saturday night. Woo! It was exhausting. Anyway, we got $70,000 more for her that she wasn't even expecting. So you know what? This is why I always say, how do you measure a realtor? Because any realtor can fill out a form. How do you measure a good realtor is the intangibles that you can't measure. How do you know how to negotiate for 5 hours, what to ask for, how far you can push? How did we get all the conditions removed? How do we get a better occupancy date? How do you frame those questions? How do you pit 2 buyers against each other? How did we get $70,000 more than the max price that we were expecting? How do you do all of that? And that comes with experience, just because we've done it so many times for so long. And that's why I say, whenever you're going to go buy a house, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's very hard for you to find a good agent, because there's not a lot of agents that have been around a long time. Like in Toronto here, over 90% of agents are less than 3 years in the business. So how do you find one? Everyone knows 5 agents, but everyone has a very bad view of them because there's so many bad stories out there, because so many people don't know what they're doing. So this is why you need to find somebody that you get along with really well. You have the same idea about where to go, so we help people all the time buy properties in Toronto. I don't always think that all your properties, your whole portfolio, should be in Toronto. We think you should have a diversity. So you should have some properties in rural, some properties in the suburban areas, inner cities, some downtown in the core. You need to diversify yourself. So some of our clients, they just want to buy all of them downtown, all within 5 blocks of each other. That's cool. We're going to help them get the best deals that we can. Remember, my job is just to try to tell them what information I know and do everything within our power in order to help them grow. Fortunately, I could never do this all alone. I have an amazing wife. I have a huge team of people that help me do this every single day. There's no way that we could spread me thin enough to be able to do it all. So this is why I like having a big group. I, in my opinion, believe that you cannot operate today without having a large group doing it. The days of the solo agent, to me, are dead. It doesn't even exist, because the amount of things that you have to do. Yeah, man. Sorry, man. I'm going blind, you guys. I need glasses now to see everything. Yeah, it's great. It's good for me, yeah. But mostly I'm happy for the sellers. Do you know what I mean? I just want the sellers to kill it all the time. I want the sellers to do great. And so when when they're retiring, and every dollar counts right now, and then you could just give them that gift of 70 grand, that's going to change their lives. They can go buy a brand new vehicle or redo their whole house. Like, it's a massive deal. To a lot of people who are in their 40s, maybe here in Toronto, that are big rollers, 70,000 doesn't mean a lot to them, but to these guys, it meant the world to them. So we're super excited for them. All right, you guys. Thanks very much for coming on. I hope that you had fun. I had fun. Do you guys have any questions before I jump off? Even after you said today is not the best time to buy. Yeah, of course. Here's the thing. My job, my job as a realtor is to do whatever you want to do. That's it. So we have a lot of buyers that don't actually know that I even have a channel. They don't follow what I'm trying to teach people, right? We have other buyers who know what I try to teach, but want to do something else. We have buyers that they have no idea what they want. My job is to give you every bit of knowledge and information and skill that I have. And then whatever you decide to do with it, I have to try and make it work out the very best for you. So even the buyers that we're working with, when they're going to look at a home, we showed one guy this home and he liked it. And I said, I wouldn't buy it in your life. You would have to drop the price 150,000 before I would even look at it. I would run from this house, but I'm like, hey, if you want to do it, I'll still put in an offer for you. But I'm just saying I would low ball the price. And so you guys, nah, I don't want the work, YouTube random. How are you, buddy? You said, what is the best time to buy precious metals? So you're talking about like silver like this. So I've been buying consistently every month, every 2 months since 2010. So I'd say great time, great time, great time, great time. I think it's a great time today. But if I was going to look at just today, I would be buying silver today. Guys, in like 2 weeks, a week or two, I'm going to have a awesome gold and silver course. I've been filming it for a while. So it's all filmed. We're going through editing. It's going to take a long time to prepare. But once I have that course up, it's going to be available. It's how to be buying physical metals, the best practices. I've been buying metals for boy, I think I got my first one when I was like 5 or something like that. But I've been aggressively buying metals since my 20s. My father was buying metals from 1979 on. And so we have a lot of metals in our family. Remember, though, you never want to be keeping these in your homes ever. So I have some just as demonstration purposes to show you, but you shouldn't be keeping them in your home ever. You need to find secure places to find them. But when is a good time? It's always a good time. When is a good time to lock your door on your home? You would say, well, I do it every night. Well, why? Well, because you want to be safe. So how often do you want to be getting silver and gold? All the time, because you want your money to be safe. Here's the difference. This is money. This is currency. Currency is just a piece of paper to back up something that has value. So this is why I get rid of my paper as fast as I can to get some kind of commodity, something. Montreal services. I'll be letting you know when the courses are available. I'm going to be I'll be telling you once they're available. I'm going to be very excited about them. So I'll be telling you about them, but I'm going to be putting the links underneath every YouTube video where you can get into my portal to have access to my courses. We got a lot of plans. I have a buyer course, a seller course. There'll be a gold and silver one. I'm going to have one on crypto. I'm going to show you all the ways that I make money because, this is the thing. You cannot survive in this system here with only having 1-2 streams of income. We got to learn how to build 12 different streams of income, 15 different streams. Get those streams coming in because that's what's going to save you through what we're going to be going through now. Did I help you with your question, Random, on YouTube? Hopefully I did. Hopefully I did. All right, you guys. Thanks very much for coming on. Hope that you had a fantastic night. Keep on crushing it out there, guys. You got to keep on making money. We need to outrun inflation. If you are not making at least 15% on your money per year, you're losing money to inflation. So you got to be doing something in order to protect yourself later on. Would you offer 20% below asking on a house that's overpriced? Oh, yeah, sure. So Otis, here's the deal. There's home prices all over the planet that are absolutely crazy. All right. So let me tell you, one of the homes that we were looking at just this weekend, one of the ones that I sold, all the homes in the area are listed at 850,000 and they have been on the market for 4 months. So they can ask whatever they want. To drop the price from 20% from that makes a lot of sense. the property that we sold, we put up for $650 because that's what it's worth today. So if you were going to offer 20% below market value, that's not going to work. But if it was 20% below asking and the asking price was not in clear relation with market value, then it makes sense. So it's no problem offering 20% less when the price is so out of whack. You know what I mean? A random argument. You said I helped you out, man. Good. Hope I help you. Random argument. If you want on YouTube, if you want, go to my link. It's in every one of my YouTube videos. You can go underneath, and I have the company that I've been using for like 15 years. Every time that I get their metals, I actually test them to make sure that the metals are pure. For 15 years, they've 100% always been accurate. So I really trust them. I've been around a long time. There's a lot of fakes, so be careful where you buy your metal. Cool, Otis. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you want some gold and silver, that's where I've been buying for 15 years now. There are some more, some other strategies that I use to get gold and silver at much cheaper prices, but it's kind of like advanced because in order to do so, you need to have the testers in order to do that. It's like a $1,500 tester that you need to be able to go and buy blocks of silver or going and buying gold like this from random people, because this, I can buy a fake one of these gold bars for $25 on Amazon. I can buy a fake one for $25. So people can buy them and then sell them to you for $2,500 off of Kijiji, and you're never going to see them again. So you got to be really, really careful who you buy it from. So until you have a substantial amount, you're not going to go and spend $1,500, $2,000 to buy the equipment that you need to test it. So that's why I think that you should start with a reputable company. Montreal Services, you're going to arrange to see them downtown Montreal next. Okay, Montreal Services, just if you can, use my link and open an account, but you have to start by sending them some ID. So if you go in person to go and give them your ID, it's going to take a long time in there. So open your account. You have to send them your driver's license or passport. You have to open your account. It's a law. So once you open your account, they're going to send you an email saying your account is good. Once your account is good, you can walk in every single day if you want. I wouldn't waste my time by opening an account there. Oh, you did open an account. Thank you. As long as your account's open, just walk in whenever you want. Farm Boy, you said you have $10,000 in gold and silver from CIBC. Okay. Oh, you did through my link too, Montreal. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Farm Boy, you said you have $10,000 in gold and silver from CIBC. What does that mean? Do you have it in person? I mean, like, not in your house. You should never have it in your house, but like, do you have it in a safe somewhere, in a vault? Or do you have a paper certificate? Because if you don't have it in your possession, you're like, I just have a paper certificate. You don't have it. If you do, you should go cash it out. They can resell one of these 100 times for every one that they have in stock. So I wouldn't do that. Oh, you do have an actual in a safety. Brilliant, buddy. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome. All right. So, you know, one of these, I don't know the prices right now. I haven't checked them for a week or so, but this should be like what, $2,500? You know, something like this should cost you around $3,000 right now. A brick. I think I only paid $2,600 for this not too long ago, but the prices are fluctuating every single minute, right? Yeah, Montreal Services. Yeah, the banks have no insurance. That is correct. No insurance in the banks in safety deposit boxes. A lot of banks will tell you, we don't want your precious metals, actually. They want you to sign saying, I will not put precious metals in it. The only thing they want you to put in there is a teddy bear. So crazy. Safety deposit box. These guys are unbelievable. They were made to keep things safe, but they're like, don't put any valuables in it, please. Bananas. Hey guys, I was flossing and I chipped my tooth. So mad. Feels like I'm whistling every time I'm talking. At least you know I floss like twice a day, right? Anyway, these front two teeth are kind of fake. I got in a bike accident when I was a teenager, ran into the back of a car, and broke those two teeth right off. Crazy, right? The things that happens when you're a kid. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming by. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope that you learned a couple of things. I want you to keep on crushing it, you guys. Home prices are going to be a wild ride over the next year at least. So be careful, man. If you have a big home, you should be thinking about selling. If you got a small home, you're probably going to be okay. If you're thinking about buying, don't buy right now. Now, of course, you have to go into context. It depends on the city, depends on the country, depends where you are and what your financial system is set up to be, right? But there's a lot happening, man. Montreal Services said you look forward to the new material. We'll let you know when it's available. I know that at this exact second, this exact minute, right now, we got 3 people working on it, like this second while I'm on this live. We have a lot of people working on it. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great night. Keep on crushing it. You need me, contact at Rough Team Realty, okay? Contact at Rough Team Realty is where I am. Keep doing well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Oh, wait. Farm boy, you're saying something. 13-acre farm worth anything? Chatham, Ontario? Yeah, of course. It always has value. It always has value. Now, if it's a 13-acre farm that doesn't have a farmhouse, I wouldn't be probably keeping it. But if I would build a house on it right away so that I can get a larger mortgage on it. If I could get a larger mortgage, then it's probably going to be worth it. Chatham is very likely going to be in the path of progress. So any property that is in the path of progress has a chance for redevelopment down the road. I would always make sure that I'm talking to the city to find out what their plans are for changes on zoning. If there's a potential for changing on zoning, then I would hang on to it. All right, you guys. Hope that you have a fantastic night. Keep crushing it, you guys. Talk to you soon. Thank you, YouTube.